Welcome back to another video. In this video, I want to explain why you are stuck where you are in your life, whether that be with income, whether that be with environment, whether that be with job role, job title, the people in your life. I'm going to explain what you need to do in order to step into the life that you want to live. And we're going to start off by talking about goal setting. Now, I don't just mean in the traditional sense of getting a pen and paper and writing down the generic things like, I want to make 10,000 a month, I want to be able to travel, I want to be able to do this. Not the basic generic stuff that most people can't then walk away with a tangible plan to go on and make those things happen. That is step one on knowing what it is you want. But the way to actually start to bring these things into your material world is understanding what is even the reason why I want that. Because when you ask most people, what do you want? They'll say, I want to make $10,000 a month. Amazing. Why? And usually they have to take some time to think and actually work out, okay, why do I want to make that sum of money? And usually the first word that comes with it is freedom. So what actually happens is we speak from a conscious state of mind where we think if we have more money, that's going to solve more of my problems, which sounds like a logical response. But what is the actual reason for wanting to make more income? What is the reason for wanting to make a change in your life? Because until you understand the real reason why you want to do it, you are unable to focus solely on that one thing. Because saying I want to make this sum of money, that is very broad, that is very vague. There are many, many ways in this world that you can generate more income, whether that's online, whether that's starting a business, whether that is taking up more hours at work. Like there's so many ways you can go on to generate more income, but that doesn't necessarily mean you're going to enjoy the journey. Because let's be honest, if you're someone right now who's working a 9 to 5, or you're in a business that you're not really feeling fulfilled in, you're not even enjoying what it is you do, how is the idea of doing more of what you don't like going to contribute to giving you a life you want to live? You shouldn't have to adhere to these apparent rules or these apparent confinements that we have when it comes to excelling in your journey and reaching a point or a destination that right now is your main goal. It is what you want to be able to live. So I'm going to take you through the process on how we can actually start to establish what it is we want, why we want it, and then how to actually then bring that into your physical world. So like I say, the first idea is understanding why do you want to achieve that sum of money? What would that enable you to do? And not everybody's goals are about money, but that enables most people to go on and live their life. For example, if your goal is to be able to go and travel the world, you want to be able to live in beautiful villas, you want to be able to make content, you want to record yourself doing days in the life, you want to vlog, you want to be on the back of a scooter in Bali or surfing waves in Lombok in Sri Lanka, you want to be going to these places and experiencing this world for what it really can give you. Now that to me is freedom. And the way to be able to do that is first establishing, okay, how can I make more money to enable me to live the life that I want to live? So now what we have is a destination, and having that destination, can we now plot a route to reaching the point we're trying to get to? Because it's no longer just a cul-de-sac of I want to make 10,000 a month. Okay, well, I don't have a route. All I know is I want to make money. What can I do with that information? Whereas now there's several benefits on actually being very specific in what it is you want from a logical perspective as well as a spiritual perspective. But the way we can look at this is once we have the destination, when we have our sat nav and we're plotting where we want to go, we want to go from one place where we are right now from point A to point B. How do we do that? We put into our sat nav exactly where it is we want to go, even down to the final coordinate. If you want to take it that seriously and get to a specific point, you can put in an address, and what it's going to do is going to figure out where you want to go and plot the simplest and most effective route to get to that destination. So by having that ability to say, okay, my goal is to be able to travel the world, I want to vlog, I want to meet new people, I want to live like this. How do you then think you can then go from where you are now to there? We've now established the end point. We've established where point B is. So now from there, we can work backwards. Okay, where I am right now is not who I need to be to get me to that destination. Where I'm sat right now, my dreams, my ambitions, my goals, they're currently unobtainable by me behaving as the current version of myself that exists. And this is what brings me on to my second point on how we can obtain these things, because goal setting is one thing and knowing what it is we want is a second thing, but the most important thing is how can we actually make it happen? And I can refer this back to my own story on how I'm now able to record this video from a beautiful villa in Marbella. Today is the 3rd of January 2026. I made a decision that I wanted to spend my new year in Marbella in a place that makes me feel amazing with great running routes, my favorite restaurants. A lot of people I love and care about live here also. And then I'm going to be able to go and spend the rest of the month over in Dubai. How have I been able to do this? By applying the principles that I'm about to explain in this next part of the video. Because knowing what it is we want is phase one. We have to actually know where we want to go. What did I then do to be able to get to this exact point, to be able to sit in a villa in Marbella and to be able to record these videos, which may actually be your current goal? How I'm living right now was once a dream that I had 2, 3, 4 years ago when I first set out on my digital entrepreneurial journey. How did I go from there to here? First of all, I established the destination. I knew that I wanted to travel the world, inspire others, impact others, and I wanted to be able to live life on my own terms. I knew where I wanted to go. How did I plot the route? By understanding who I need to become to live that way, because I knew the version of me that existed 4 years, 3 years, even 2 years ago was not the person that needed to exist to be able to live life the way I do now. So how did I go through that process? I sat back and I said, who I am right now is earning this amount of money. They have these habits, they carry these traits, they think this way. Their predominant internal monologue, the way you speak to yourself, the usual thoughts I have on a daily basis are these. Does the person that lives the life I want to live think this way, feel this way, behave this way, and act this way? Do they go out and behave like that? And the answer was no. Because if I did already behave that way, then I would already have the result. I would already have the life that I want to live. If I was exactly who I needed to be able to travel the world at will and be able to experience the beautiful world that we have out here that is accessible at any time, by the way, if I was that version of me that needed to exist, why wasn't I already able to live the life of my dreams? So this is the part where most people get stuck. This is where most people get stopped in their tracks. They understand now where they want to go. They don't know how to get there. And people think the key comes down to skills, or the key comes down to who you know, and the key comes down to an opportunity. Yes, all those things contribute to getting you there. But the most important part is understanding, who do I need to be to experience that side of life? Who do I need to be to obtain that lifestyle? And it isn't just putting on a mask and pretending to be someone else or faking it till you make it. I'm going to explain right now the process I took to go from someone who you could quite easily say was depressed, unhealthy, overweight, bad habits, drinking, going out every night. That was how I was behaving because I was trying to escape the reality that I wasn't enjoying. But I was trying to escape it through almost seduction of my mind. I was trying to almost succumb to my environment and think that would change how I end up going out and living my life, which of course logically doesn't make sense, but neither on a spiritual basis does it make sense, because vibrationally I wasn't aligned with the version of me that existed that lives life in the way I do right now. So what we have to do is think, okay, here's a simple process. The person that lives the life I want to live, this is what they do. They think this way. They have different methods on how they operate on a daily basis. They wake up every day, they're consistent, their routine looks like this, they speak to these types of people, they carry themselves like this, they live their life this way, they manage their money like this, they perform business like this. You understand, first of all, the avatar of that version that lives life the way you want to live. So that way you can almost mimic the way they behave so you can become them. And when you become that version, then you can start to live life on those terms. And that was what I understood. I sat back and I said, what does the version of me that makes $10,000 a month, travels the world and gets to inspire other people, what do they do every day? Well, they're consistent and they're disciplined. At the time, that wasn't me. That didn't match my character. So what did I do? I started being way more focused in the gym. I started to run a lot more. I become a marathon runner. I've now ran 2 marathons. I run pretty much every single day. I'm consistent and disciplined in my fitness, my health, my diet, the way that I carry my energy. I've created a version of me that is disciplined and stays true to what he says he will do long after mood has passed. I am consistent and I'm committed to this version of myself. So that's one thing. That's how I can start traveling the route, reaching my destination. What else did I need to be able to do? I needed to be an effective communicator. I need to be able to speak to people so that when opportunities do arise to enable me to step into business with new people, to be able to work with others, to be able to almost offer value to someone else that can then increase my likability, to increase my opportunities in my life, I need to be able to communicate with people effectively. So what did I do? I started having more conversations with people on social media. I started reaching out to these people that were living life the way that I wanted to and asked them, what is it you do? How have you managed to generate income online to provide you with freedom in this world? What is it you've done? So to be able, the version of me that was making 10,000 a month, he was an effective communicator. So I needed to get better at communicating. What else did that I have to do? The version of me that existed, that got to travel the world, live freely, I envisioned him as someone that had a positive mindset. I envisioned him as someone that had a level of true self-belief, that no matter what was said to him, no matter what he was told, no matter what others thought about him, he would go out and make it happen. Because what was more important to this version of me that I knew could exist? Was it more important to me that people could change the way I think and thought about myself? Was it more important to me that my image and how I was portrayed by other people? Or was it the fact that it was more important to me to be authentic, to be myself, and to provide value where I can, and to be able to go out and enjoy my life? What meant more? What people thought of me, or the life that I got to live? And I thought, well, it sounds way more positive if I can think of myself as someone who's authentic and aligned with everything I say that I want to become. So I realized that in order to be able to do that, I need to change the way I think. I need to spend more time working on my personal development. And that doesn't mean listening to podcasts and just trying to gain value and regurgitating things that you hear on audios or in books. What that really means is being able to develop yourself personally by writing down, who am I right now? What are my triggers? What are my traits? What are my habits? What are my beliefs? And understanding that where I am right now is not contributing to the growth of my life. And what that ended up being was people started to fall out of my life. I started to lose friends. I lost relationships. I lost things that I thought I would carry through with me to the next phase, or as people call it, the next level of my life. But I understood that in order for a new version for me to exist, an old version has to die. I had to sacrifice certain things in my life to be able to then open up the space for the new things I want to come in. And that's now enabled me to travel to 30 plus countries. I've spoken to thousands and thousands of people on the topics I'm sharing right now. And it's enabled me to generate amazing sums of income. And I'm only just getting started. But for me to continue going on and now have a view of what my next level looks like, you have to stay in this constant mentality of transition and of growth. Because I assure you, once you start to reach what is right now the life you're praying for, and you actually apply the principles and the opportunity that I'm providing to you right now to grow, if you do apply these things, you're going to get to a point where you reach a day where you can sit down and say, I am currently living my life exactly as I wish for. I am living my previous dreams. But that doesn't mean you're going to stop there, because you're now developed into a person that doesn't get comfortable. You've now developed the traits and habits of somebody who is willing to do what it takes to continue to grow. So now your overall belief and the way you operate on a day-to-day basis is seeking growth and opportunity in everything you do. So now it's inevitable that the next level is going to appear because of who you have become in the process. You haven't succumbed to the dark days. You haven't allowed your environment or your situation to consume you and it make you go so deep within that you're unable to move and you become paralyzed and analyzing your situation, trying to think of ways out of things instead of acting your way out of it. And what that then does, when you develop these new habits of this version of you, not only are you going to start to reap the benefits in the material world and in the real world, what is going to end up happening is you're going to have so much more abundance in the way you think, the way you feel, that that next level is going to look 10 times better than what you once prayed for. Because I can speak from experience. Where I am right now, I'm extremely blessed and grateful, and I love my life. I'm very grateful for who I've become. I know that I'm true to myself, and I can have the confidence that when I meet people, I'm showing up every day as the true version of myself. I don't have to wear a mask or pretend to be somebody else, because it doesn't matter how somebody else feels about me. What matters is as long as I turned up as myself and I'm authentic, and someone can make their own decision based off what they feel from me, then that is me staying true to who I am. And that is where most people go wrong, because we'll go out into society, we'll put on this mask where we'll convince other people we're this type of person because we think that's who they want us to be. But is that really who you want to be? Because who you want to be is potentially, again, this is all theoretical, potentially who you want to be is someone that gets to travel the world and meet more people. So why are you behaving like someone that enjoys to go out, enjoys going to raves, and enjoys completely destroying themselves with negative thoughts, with consuming negative content, with consuming negative information, speaking about other people? Because when we compare to the version of you that exists, that gets to live your dreams, Are they doing those things that you are currently doing? So that's what this whole concept is about, or not just goal setting, but it's a simple step-by-step process that a lot of people actually end up failing along the way because they miss the key part. Because we understand you must ask to receive, but you also need to believe that it is possible. It's not as simple as just asking and waiting for the work to happen. The way that we get from point A to point B is by first establishing what is the goal, where do I want to get to, and why, so we can emotionalize and rationalize it in our minds on how we're going to get there. Then we need to understand, who is it I need to become on this journey to get me to that point? Because when you start to act and behave as the version of you that has those things in your life, sure enough and soon enough, you're going to see it turn up and it's going to become your reality. And if you found value in this video, please feel free to share this with someone that you love and care about, and also make sure to like and subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.